Here's a question for you. What do you think sets successful people apart from regular people? I'll give you a hint. It's not the amount of money that they have. Okay, I'll just tell you. It's the relationship that they have with their unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is one of the most misunderstood things in the world, and it's also the most powerful things that we humans possess. If you want to live a terribly horrible, miserable life, then ignore your unconscious and discount everything that I'm about to say. But if you want to create the life of your dreams, join me to understand and cultivate the relationship with the unconscious mind. In this video, I'm going to show you what the unconscious mind is, how it operates, and the importance of its existence, and how to build a relationship with it so that you can tap into this extremely powerful part of your mind to achieve your wildest dreams. Before we start, I want to dispel some common myths and misconceptions about the human mind and the unconscious. Most people tend to think that what they experience in waking life, right, through consciousness, is all that there is to the nature of reality. I'm here to tell you that it is not. The way that we experience the world through our senses is only a small fraction of what is actually happening. Most of what is going on in your mind is happening under your conscious awareness. Let's start with what the unconscious is not. Okay, so it's not just a theory, right? It's not this magical thing. The existence of the unconscious mind has been proven by science, yet we're still in the early stages of really understanding the power within this part of the human mind. And a lot of people tend to think that the unconscious is only a place where our memories are stored and, it operates our autonomous functions like breathing and our heartbeat, which it does, but that only scratches the surface. Another common misconception is that this part of your mind is inaccessible, which is not true. You can access your unconscious through your dreams by practicing active imagination, amongst other tools and techniques. And like all things that are worth doing in life, it just takes practice. In this video, we are going to focus on the model of the human mind as laid out by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. So this diagram represents the different parts of our psyche. We can divide our mind into two main parts, the conscious and the unconscious. The conscious mind is the lens in which we experience the world. And at the center of the conscious mind is the ego, which is Latin for I, aka self-concept, and the way that you view yourself. The persona is the mask that we show the world, right? So this is how you want other people to see you and to think of you. And as you can see, it is right at the border of the physical world and society. We have multiple personas and masks for different scenarios, right? Let's say when you're at work with your colleagues versus at a bar with your friends versus when you're with your significant partner versus when you're completely alone. You're going to act very differently in each of those scenarios. By and large, the persona projects the positive personality traits that we want the world to see, and meanwhile, we hide and repress the negative traits, which we all have, in our shadow. If you're curious to learn more, check out my videos on the persona and on the shadow for more information. Moving on to the unconscious mind. The unconscious itself can be split into two parts. The first is the personal unconscious, and we develop this from our past experiences, from our traumas and significant events. And this is also where our shadow resides. In our shadow are all of the repressed aspects of ourselves that we are not aware of. These include repressed memories, unacknowledged desires and impulses, and negative traits that we are unwilling to accept, as well as unexplored talents and potentials. In our personal unconscious also lies complexes. A complex in the personal unconscious refers to a pattern of thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and memories that organize around a particular theme or issue. These complexes are often formed as a result of significant emotional experiences and can exert a powerful influence on a person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. An example of this is an inferiority complex, right? So let's imagine a person, we'll call him John. And John grew up feeling inadequate, right? Inferior compared to, let's say, his siblings. Throughout his childhood, he received constant criticism, right, from his parents, his teachers, and he struggled to meet their expectations. As a result of this, John developed an inferiority complex in his personal unconscious. This complex manifests itself in various ways. One is low self-esteem, right? So John consistently doubts his own abilities and he feels unworthy of success or recognition. He avoids taking on challenges or pursuing opportunities due to fear of failure or rejection. Another way this manifests is overcompensation, right? To compensate for his feelings of inadequacy, John might develop an exaggerated need for achievement or validation. So he becomes driven to prove himself and seeks external validation to boost his self-esteem. Third are defensive behaviors. So when he's faced with situations that trigger his feelings of inferiority, John might become defensive or hostile, right? He might lash out at others and resort to blaming external factors for his shortcomings in order to protect his fragile self-image. Complexes can get quite complex. Get it? I'll reserve a future video covering the most common ones in more detail. So moving on, we have the collective unconscious, which is all of the psychic material innate to humankind, including myths, symbols, universal experiences such as birth, death, love, and fear, histories, and archetypes, which are shared by all of humanity. This is a part of our psyche that we inherit straight from birth, and it explains why we have innate fears such as fear of heights, fear of darkness, right? Fear of dangerous animals such as snakes and lions. Because these were the same fears that kept our ancestors alive and hence were passed down to modern day humans. And this can be a can of worms because it challenges the idea that humans are born with a blank slate. And it opens up all kinds of interesting discussions on free will and determinism, which we will not get into today. We also have archetypes in the collective unconscious. And you can think of archetypes as symbolic representations of fundamental human experiences, themes, patterns that recur across cultures, societies, and historical periods. So these are the universal symbols or patterns that exist in the collective unconscious. And some examples include the hero figure, right? The mother figure, the father figure, the child figure, as well as the wise old man or woman. And there are as many archetypes as there are situations that humans can find themselves in. It's a complex topic that we'll dive more into in the future. In the collective unconscious are the anima and the animus. And the anima and the animus are the aspects of the unconscious mind that are opposite of the individual's conscious gender identity. So the anima represents the feminine qualities within the male psyche, whereas the animus represents the masculine qualities within the female psyche. Both animus and anima play significant roles in shaping individual perceptions, relationships, and behavior. So the anima influences how a man relates to his femininity and affects his attitudes towards women, emotions, creativity, and receptivity. Conversely, the animus influences how a woman relates to masculinity, impacting her assertiveness, her logic, her autonomy, and decision-making. Jung stated that individuation, or the process of becoming a fully realized individual, involves integrating both the anima or the animus into conscious awareness. Integration recognizes and reconciles these unconscious aspects, allowing people to access a more balanced and integrated sense of self. This process typically involves embracing and embodying qualities traditionally associated with the opposite gender, leading to greater psychological wholeness and personal growth. At the center of the unconscious is the self, and this is the central archetype in Jungian psychology, and it is the divine archetype within the human psyche. The self represents the unified consciousness and unconscious of an individual. It is the totality of the whole psyche, and it integrates both the conscious ego and the unconscious. It pulls together opposites within an individual's psyche into a unified, realized self. It is who we are at our deepest level and what we strive to become. The self contains the God image, or the imago Dei. This is our true self, our highest and most authentic version of our being. The self can be symbolized by the circle, a square, or a mandala, images that represent unity, integration, and order out of chaos. So that's a lot. Why is this all important? Understanding and integrating the unconscious mind is the most important work that each of us can do in our lifetime. The work is to make as much of our unconscious material conscious, to move it into our awareness so that we don't fall into its traps. Most people tend to think that their conscious mind is all that there is to life, right? And that what they see, hear, and feel and sense is all of reality. But the truth is, the conscious mind is only a fraction of our being. Have you ever seen that sci-fi movie Lucy starring Scarlett Johansson? It came out in like the 2010s. The whole premise of that story is that humans use 10% of that brain, and unlocking the other 90% gives you superpowers like telekinesis or superhuman-like strength. Well, you won't be able to move things around with the power of your mind, but doing this inner work of integration will make your life better in every way possible. In what way, you might ask? Let's start with self-awareness. Integrating the unconscious mind brings out hidden thoughts, emotions, and motivations into conscious awareness, right? And that allows you to better understand yourself, but it also allows you to have better relationships and also make better decisions. That means that you'll be able to expose limiting beliefs, complexes, and self-sabotaging behaviors that are holding you back from your highest potential. Our emotional wounds and traumas reside in the unconscious mind. By integrating these suppressed emotions and processing past experiences, we can experience emotional healing and find resolution for unresolved conflicts and trauma. The easiest example I can give you is, for somebody who finds themselves stuck in a cycle of unhealthy relationships or of unfulfilling careers, most likely they have unresolved complexes and unaddressed traumas operating in the background. And the human mind is a goal-seeking mechanism. Unconscious beliefs about your self-worth and capabilities will either stop you or speed you up towards achieving your goals. We all have stories that we tell ourselves, and most of the time we don't even know what these stories are because many of them hide underneath our conscious awareness. And the danger in denying the existence of the unconscious is projecting its contents outwards. Projection is a psychological defense mechanism where we unconsciously attribute our own thoughts, our feelings, our traits onto somebody else. Jung once beautifully said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The unconscious mind houses repressed emotions, traumas, and unresolved conflicts. And ignoring these issues can lead to persistent emotional distress, anxiety, depression, and mood disturbances. Over time, these unresolved emotional issues may manifest in physical symptoms or contribute to poor mental health and disorders such as depression, anxiety, and other neuroses. The unconscious also plays a significant role in shaping our habits, our behaviors, and our decision-making processes. And if left unrecognized, these patterns and beliefs may drive self-destructive behaviors, addictions, or dysfunctional relationships without your awareness. In order to break free from these patterns requires understanding, it requires reflection, and addressing the underlying motivations stored in the unconscious mind. Our self-perception and beliefs about our abilities, our worthiness, and potential are stored in our unconscious. Negative self-talk, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs rooted in the unconscious can undermine your own confidence, hinder personal growth, and prevent you from realizing your fullest potential. And the first step is always recognizing and challenging these limiting beliefs. This is why it's so important to understand your mind in order to achieve any level of success. Because you can't achieve success if you don't know the invisible factors holding you back. Only when you recognize them can you start to change them, healing parts of yourself and rewriting the unconscious narrative that has been passed down by your parents and caregivers. Your beliefs create your thoughts, and your thoughts inspire your actions. Success is not a byproduct of external factors. It's a byproduct of who you are and who you will become internally. And remember this, your external world is always a reflection of your internal world. The unconscious mind is a wellspring of creative ideas, inspirations, insights, and solutions. Some of the most important creations and discoveries came from the dreams of inventors. Einstein's theory of relativity came to him in a dream about cows. And Elias Howe invented the needle of the modern sewing machine in a dream. Exploring the unconscious also leads to spiritual insights and experiences. By connecting to the deeper layers of the psyche, we can also gain a sense of connection to something greater than ourselves, leading to a deeper understanding of spirituality and the nature of existence. And reflecting on my own spiritual journey, for a very long time, I was a super staunch atheist. But after having a few mystical experiences with psychedelics, which gives me a direct line of communication to my unconscious, I rediscovered my spirituality and I fully believe in a higher power. The next question you might be asking is, how can I cultivate a relationship with my unconscious mind? There's plenty of ways to do that, and what all the techniques and tools have in common is their introspective nature. I mentioned briefly how dreams serve as a portal to your unconscious, and this is a part of your mind that you have access to every single night. Dreaming provides us with the language that our unconscious communicates with. Not with words, but with images, with symbols, and with emotion. And also, dreams are not meant to be taken literally, right? So let's say that you attack someone in your dream and you kill them in your dream. It doesn't mean that you are going to become a killer in your waking life. Actually, each dream character represents not a person outside of ourselves, but a part of ourselves that we must work out. So in the case of a killer dream, it might mean that there's a part of your personality that is in conflict with your self-image that might warrant you taking a deeper look at. Each part of the dream is important. So the location, the activity, the people, the animals, the creatures, even nightmares symbolize a part of our psyche. And while each dream symbol is unique to the individual dreamer, common dream motifs can be found. For example, dreams about a large body of water, such as an ocean, often symbolizes the vast depths of our unconscious mind and the depths of our emotions. Dreaming of an ocean might indicate that you are willing to explore or come to terms with your innermost feelings and desires. Dreams about falling from tall heights symbolize a feeling of losing control or insecurity in your waking life. It could reflect fears about failure, rejection, or the unknown. And death, which is a very common dream theme, symbolizes transition or change. Death in a dream can symbolize the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another one. This might reflect a major change that you're experiencing, such as a career change or the end of a relationship or another major life decision. Death can also symbolize the death of certain aspects of yourself or your life, such as old habits, beliefs, or ways of thinking. This can be seen as a positive sign of personal growth and transformation. And I've had a couple of dreams about death myself. I remember having these dreams at pivotal moments in my life, right when a massive change was about to occur, such as, changing careers or leaving my job. Understanding your dreams and dream analysis is a really powerful tool that you can use each morning after you wake up. And if you need help getting started, there are a ton of AI dream journal apps that will help you interpret your dreams. A second really powerful technique you can use is called active imagination, and this was developed by Carl Jung. And essentially what active imagination is it's akin to entering the dream state while you're fully awake. This is a very powerful tool that allows you to have a direct dialogue with your unconscious mind. But don't let the word imagination turn you off. In case you might think that you might just be imagining things or making things up, it's nearly impossible to produce anything from the imagination that isn't an authentic representation of something within the unconscious. And if you really stop to think about it, this makes sense, because everything in your imagination has to come from somewhere, so it must be living inside of you somewhere. There's a really great book that I highly recommend if you're serious about doing this sort of work, called Inner Work: Using Dreams and Active Imagination for Personal Growth by Robert A. Johnson. I'll briefly summarize the technique that he uses. So you can begin by setting a clear intention for your active imagination session. Determine whatever issue, question, or aspect of yourself that you wish to explore. It could be a personal challenge, a recurring dream symbol, or an unresolved emotion. Find a quiet and comfortable environment where you won't be disturbed. Sit or lie down in a relaxed position. Close your eyes and take several deep breaths to center yourself and quiet your mind. Visualize yourself entering an inner landscape or setting of your choice. It can be a forest or beach, or any imagery that resonates with you. Engage your imagination to make the scene as vivid and as immersive as possible. Within the inner world, invite an inner guide or symbolic figure to accompany you in your journey. This guide could take the form of a wise mentor, an animal spirit, or any other representation of your unconscious wisdom. Trust your intuition and allow the guide to appear in whatever form feels the most appropriate. Initiate the conversation with your inner guide, asking questions and sharing thoughts and feelings about the issue that you're wanting to explore. And truly be open to receiving insights, wisdom, or guidance from your unconscious mind, through the voice of your inner guide. Pay attention to any images, sensations, or emotions that arise from the dialogue. As you engage your dialogue with your inner guide, express yourself creatively through art, through writing, through movement, and any other medium that feels natural to you. Allow your imagination to flow freely and trust your instincts as you explore the depths of your psyche. After your imagination session, take some time to reflect on your experience. Write down any thoughts, any symbols, or messages that emerged from the process. Consider how they relate to your waking life and what actions you may want to take based on this newfound understanding. Set aside dedicated time for sessions as needed and be patient with yourself as you delve deeper into the mysteries of your unconscious mind. Johnson emphasizes the importance of developing the relationship with your inner guide and trusting the wisdom of your unconscious to guide you into your path. By engaging in active imagination regularly and with intention, you can unlock new insights, foster personal growth, and cultivate a deeper connection with your inner self. Beyond the two powerful tools of dream analysis and active imagination, seeking a trusted counselor or therapist can also help you make sense of and understand your unconscious contents. And I want to wrap this video up by giving you a piece of advice that I wish I could give to my 18-year-old self. If you ever feel stuck, if you ever feel lost in life, instead of turning outwards for advice, seek guidance internally and trust in yourself that you have the answers that you're looking for. If you look inward and you do the work, you will find what you're looking for. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a shame that we aren't taught any of this growing up, and I wish that I learned this 10 years ago. If you found this helpful, I would love for you to share this video with someone that you think would benefit from this, whether it's a friend or a family member. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please comment down below. I do read all the comments, and my goal is to put out content that will serve you in the best way possible. Thanks for joining me, and see you soon.